Why is it that with some performances we experience stronger emotions than with others? Why do the words and gestures affect how we connect and relate to the characters on stage? Over time, there has been a departure from the idea that bigger is better when it comes to acting. But now, realism is a prominent theatre practice around the world and lends itself to the idea that less is more. This all originated from the ideas of Konstantin Stanislavski. Before we begin with Stanislavski's methods and how they are used by actors to create a realistic performance, it is important to look at where it all began and the life of Stanislavski. Konstantin Stanislavski was born in Moscow, Russia, on the 17th of January, 1863. He was actually born as Konstantin Sergeyevich Alexeyev into one of the richest families in Russia. He adopted the name Stanislavski as a way of keeping his theatre activities a secret from his disapproving family. He didn't attend university, but rather worked in the family business and pursued an acting career on the side. He married a beautiful actress in 1889, pictured together above on stage prior to their wedding. They had 3 children together. By the age of 25, Stanislavski was already well known as an amateur actor and began his work directing. In 1898, he co-founded the Moscow Art Theatre with Vladimir Nemirikovich Danchenko. The company was wildly successful, both in Russia and internationally, with Stanislavski and Danchenko co-directing the productions, and Stanislavski even acting in some of them. The 19th century was dominated by opera, musicals, and melodrama, all of which lend themselves to performative and symbolic acting styles. On stage, emotions were translated into certain gestures and vocal techniques in order to embody dramatic expression. But Stanislavski was unhappy with these theatre practices, as he felt that acting had lost all sense of truth. But a big change was coming as actors and directors began to experiment with a new, innovative style called realism. Realism was rooted in the aim to create a realistic depiction of everyday life on stage. In order to achieve a realistic performance, there are certain elements that need to be incorporated. Realistic plays use the box set, which consists of 3 walls and an invisible 4th wall between the actors and the audience, as the actors do not address or acknowledge the audience in realistic plays. The location has to be believable and in direct connection with the location mentioned in the play. The props also have to be realistic things that are utilized in everyday life, such as a coaster, a bookshelf, or a lamp. Realism focused on the characters being a portrayal of real people in everyday situations, dealing with common problems. And so the plays would consist of regular people, using everyday language, wearing everyday clothes. The audience should be able to connect with these characters and their situations, as the realist acting style has a more psychological approach, where the importance is focused on the characters' inner feelings and their motives. Although realism focused on everyday people, and it sounds like that would be a simple acting style to grasp, it was a huge departure for actors at the time from the popular genres of melodrama and musicals that they were used to. Where to start? How does the shift from melodrama to realism begin? Well, it began with a set of techniques developed by Stanislavski, more popularly known as Stanislavski's system or as the method. So let's begin with some of Stanislavski's key principles. The actor needs to really understand their character and their background by asking, who am I? Why am I here? What led me here and what do I want going forward? How will I get it? What obstacles might stand in the way of me reaching my goal? All of this is known as the given circumstances, an important aspect for any actor to grasp when wanting to connect deeply to the character in order to achieve a realistic portrayal. What if this happened to me? And what if I was put in this position? Asking these questions is using the power of the magic if. The magic if creates a deeper, more genuine connection to the character by asking, how would I act? It helps the actor to find the truth of the character and sparks the imagination. Another key principle in Stanislavski's method is emotion memory. This technique requires the actor to reflect on something that happened in their life when they felt a certain emotion, and recalling that experience triggers the emotion, which the actor can use in the scene to create a genuine moment on stage. For example, when I was a part of a production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in high school, I was the role of Nurse Ratched. At the climax of the play, moments before an inmate launches himself at Nurse Ratched to strangle her, she is in a fit of rage, but is also hurting and sad. And for the first time, she displays a crack in her hard and cool exterior. I had trouble in the beginning reaching the emotional intensity needed for the scene, but then, during an exercise, we experimented with emotion memory. I used the memory of finding out that my ex-boyfriend had been cheating on me. I was furious, absolutely livid at the betrayal, but I was also so sad. My heart was hurting at the loss of something so special. I was simultaneously angry and hurt, and I used that experience and those emotions and translated them onto stage and into the scene. They became a part of Nurse Ratched. Other key principles include the subtext. What else is going on under the surface, or taking place that might not be said but is still important? Subtext is the content underneath the spoken word. It looks beyond the lines. The subtext is interpreted by gesture, posture, pauses, or change in the action. Another key point is to divide the script up into beats or bits. This is basically marking down wherever there is a change in a scene, where the action changes or the momentum shifts. This helps the actor to identify where there needs to be a variation in the character. Character objectives is what the character wants and their own personal goals for the duration of the performance. This helps the actor to have a clear motivation for each action by constantly referring to and remembering what their objectives are. The super objective is the overarching objective that encompasses the whole piece, kind of like a theme. Everything in the piece drives towards the super objective. For example, the super objective in Hamlet is revenge. The last of these principles I will be speaking about is obstacles. The obstacle is the thing that prevents the character from reaching their objective. The obstacle can be dealt with in 3 different ways: give up on the objective, or find a way around the obstacle, or carry on regardless of the obstacle. The way in which the character deals with the obstacles gives us a great insight into the character. By implementing all of these methods and integrating them into the character building process, actors have developed such incredible performances over the years since Stanislavski began teaching his method, and it has truly left a lasting mark on the world of performing arts.